Hi there, welcome to the Perfume Experience. My name is Rodney, and today I am going to bring you a comparison between two Middle Eastern houses that are fighting for to be the good alt or the best alt of YSL Tuxedo. So I'm talking about one, the Tux from the house of Maison Alhambra, and another I have a decant of the Kismet, and we can check this out against the OG that I have. I have a small decant of the OG as well, and we'll see if these are really good or worth the hype that's going around with regards to the Tux. So on that note, let's get started. Now the first thing is to understand the scent profile of Tuxedo. The decant that I have here is I put on a couple of sprays of this. Now this has got notes of violet leaf, it has got coriander, it's got patchouli, it's got vanilla, and it's got pepper, and it's got rose. Okay, now these are the predominant elements. It's also got a little bit of citrus note as well. But what you really get is, in terms of a scent profile, you get a fresh, spicy, warm, spicy, amber, patchouli, vanilla, that kind of a fragrance note, and it kind of lifts you up in a way. It's got that nice spice element. It's also got that green herbaceous vibe as well. But the most important thing that you'll kind of get in this particular fragrance is right at the top. You have that violet leaf, you have that patchouli playing, and you have lily of the valley in a bit, a little bit of that. And there is a spice note, like I spoke about pepper, but between all of these there is a note of rose, which really kind of plays this fragrance to that tuxedo kind of a profile, where the gentleman's profile comes because of that particular note. And of course at the very end you really have things like ambergris, all of that. But for me, this particular fragrance is something which is very complicated, very beautiful, little hard to define as well. But the movement that happens from the initial notes of violet leaf and patchouli, and as it progresses towards the second part, and when you start smelling that rose at the background, that's where this particular fragrance really comes up alive. So let me just do another spray, because I kind of really like the way this particular perfume opens up. It's very light, it's very airy, and it's got that nice spiciness in the air. Now having said that, that's the profile of the OG. Now where are the Tux, where it really leads is the same opening that it gives. So there is, in terms of opening, beat the Kismet and beat the Tux, both of them have got good openings. Okay, so you have that element of violet leaf, you have that element of patchouli, all of that spiciness is there. Now the difference between that original and the alts are that the alts are linear fragrances. Okay, now both of them, they open up very similarly. The only difference that I found is Kismet has got a little more of that alcohol blast, whereas Tux, when you put this on, you actually get a very similar profile. It's very light, it's very airy, it's got that patchouli and all of those elements very right. But there are other elements that will play up for this particular fragrance in its downfall, but let's talk about that a little later. But if I were to basically compare between the two, Kismet and this, Kismet has got a bit of a alcohol blast, which the Tux does not have. The Tux is more lighter, it carries that original profile very well, very nice. The difference comes in the notes. Okay, so the rose note that this particular OG has got, I think both the dupes are not able to carry that. So that is one of the biggest highlights, is that this is a linear fragrance that goes towards patchouli, towards the violet leaf, and of course towards that peppery note and a little bit of that citrus note, but it doesn't bring those flower notes of lily of the valley nor of the rose note. So you don't get that across at all. Okay, now that's in terms of scent profile. Now in terms of value for money, that this is going around for a decent price tag. So I'm sure you should be able to get this. I will put up a couple of contacts from where you can get decants of these, and you can try this one also and this one also. Okay, now you can try both of them, and I will talk to you about the most important element, which is the performance now for the performance. Now on performance, and I think that's where the downside of this particular fragrance is. The performance is weak on this particular fragrance. It doesn't project. Okay, when I say it doesn't project, you hardly get about 2 feet on this particular one. It doesn't last. That is the biggest problem that this particular fragrance has. In the first 15-20 minutes time, it kind of fizzles out, and by about 1.5-2 hours at max, you will have this on your skin. Beyond 2 hours, you will not find this at all. So performance is the most problematic thing with this particular fragrance. It's got an amazing presentation. It can be used as a weapon. That's how sharp this particular bottle is. So I mean, that's how good this build quality of the fragrance is. The scent profile is okay, it opens up pretty much to the tuxedo, but it doesn't have that rose note. But the biggest drawback is performance. So no matter how many sprays you put this on, you will only get about 1.5 hours to 2 hours, and after that it kind of goes light. You will not even kind of know that you kind of put this on. Even if you put it on apparel, maybe another hour at max. So about after 3 hours, you will not smell it at all. Okay. Now, so that is the case with the Tux. Now the similar problem with Kismet. This is slightly better. Maybe where this does about 2 hours on skin, this does about 3 hours on skin, and another hour plus on apparel, so about 4 hours plus, roughly I would say, not more than that. Now the only difference is that while this is also pretty much linear, but at least towards the second hour or so, it kind of tries to give you that hint of that rose note and a little bit of that vanilla. It tries to bring that, but it's not very close to the OG in terms of that, but at least slightly better off than the Tux, at least. Okay, from that point of view, Kismet is slightly better, but it's just that the alcohol blast at the very top is not a very great thing. Now if I were to choose between the two, I probably would not choose either, because I don't think these are worth getting. I really wanted to try this because of the bottle and the way it looked, very close to the OG. It looks exactly like that in terms of bottle, and I was very excited to try it. That's why I got a 30 ml of decant, but it's not a great fragrance at all. Okay, to keep. Now I've actually done another comparison of this particular fragrance, where I've done from Muzna, I've done from Scentadelic and Kismet and all of that, and there I kind of actually had picked up the winner as Scentadelic's Black Flag. Okay, now my sample actually was over, so I actually got this. So if I were to still choose between or a good alt for Tuxedo, I would still say Black Flag, for a single reason, because the rose note, like I said, is a very, very important note when it comes to the Tuxedo's scent profile, and it really plays out that gentleman character, that vanilla with that rose, and along with the top patchouli and violet leaf, coriander, all of that really brings up some beautiful element, and that's why it's such a popular fragrance, right? Now that rose element is the only one that was able to bring that about was in Black Flag. Okay, so Black Flag is the only one that is able to regenerate that particular note. So from that point of view, I kind of liked this in the previous video. So even now I would say that if I were to choose alt for the Tuxedo, I would still choose Black Flag against the Tux and the Kismet. Okay, so that is my opinion at this point of time when it comes to the alt of Tuxedo or Tux. Okay, Tuxedo. So that is my thought about what the Tux is all about, and if it's a great fragrance or not. So that is my view. So if performance is bad, scent profile is okay. Probably it's a good presentation and a good bottle to collect. That's about it. And Kismet is still decently better in terms of performance, slightly better scent profile, but a little bit of alcohol blast at the very opening. But otherwise, still makes for a much better alt than the Tux. But from an Indian house point of view, if you were to look at, if you want a really good alt of the Tuxedo, then I would say look at Black Flag, because of that middle note of that rose and a little bit of that jasmine. Really, Lily of the Valley really plays out and makes it a good contender. So that is my thought about the Tux. And if you like the content that I bring, please like and subscribe. And I have more content coming in the next few days. I will also look at bringing La Nuit de l'Homme and its alts, and I also am considering Dolce & Gabbana the one as well. So that is something that I will bring as well. So if you want to watch those videos, do like and do subscribe. Follow me on Instagram where I do reels about shorter one-on-one dupes. So have a look at that. So thank you so much for following and subscribe. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye now.